Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Well, welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 30. We're coming off our second points position finish of the season, but also our second time finishing in the points, largely thanks to wet weather. Still hoping to get that first run in the dry, just on merit. We did, for the first time finally, break the curse and get out of Q1, not with one but both cars on merit, and actually even got into Q3 with one of those cars. So we had a really good run there. Let's see if that trend can start something, get the ball rolling on that. But in the meantime, a new underfloor design is complete. And this, of course, is where we do tend to get our biggest upgrade, our biggest competitive change is through upgrading the underfloor. So let's see where it's at. And we're going to probably try to turn around and get another underfloor design going sooner rather than later. I was thinking about waiting until the first underfloor was done so I can start my next underfloor project, but perfectly timed is another upgrade, another design upgrade coming soon, which can coincide with switching to the underfloor there once we have one done. So in the meantime, we can start the next upgrade and commit a bit to it, though I want to commit quite a bit to the underfloor as well, and that means front wing design on the way with a decent upgrade coming for it. It's going to take 47 days to get done for this one, so it's going to push us into July, and it's not a huge upgrade, but I am committing a little bit of extra into the medium speed downforce on this one, as well as the low speed. The low speed's not great with the front wing for that one. The underfloor does a bit better with it, but we are going to see a pretty healthy medium speed cornering upgrade out of this, and minor gains in other places for less than $1 million. Another level of smoothness for Jack Doohan brings him up to a 76 overall. Make good progress. Definitely not ready yet to take over for Alvin, especially with that racecraft and smoothness being so poor. But definitely the pace, accuracy, and control are good enough. I'd say overtaking is actually good enough as well, and defending is tolerable levels. It's the smoothness and adaptability that are still pretty serious issues for him. And here is that corresponding second upgrade just behind the other one. So SciPod's done. We'll get the manufacturing going of that. And then in one day, the first underfloor will be ready. And so I can wait one day and start research on a new underfloor. New underfloor design. If you look to the left-hand side, you can see the new underfloor that's just been fitted. The underfloor itself, compared to other underfloors, is now just about the best on the grid. Third in low speed and airflow sensitivity, but otherwise first in other areas. Medium speed overall is still a bit of a weakness for us. So when you compare the entire car with the new underfloor on, which I don't know if we're going to be able to keep it on for the race coming after this design work begins, we may have to switch back during the race weekend to our old design until we have some more ready to go, as only the first one is ready right now, and we don't want to risk it just yet. But anyway, that comparison on the grid overall, you look at it, top speed is still a bit off, engine cooling is still a bit off, brake cooling is still a bit off, and low speed 13th at the moment. So it is coming along. It is not at the back of the grid anymore, but you can see both our high speed and medium speed is really starting to get up there, and the acceleration is finally going to push up just a little bit to 15th, and that would be our current where we're pushing for. It's getting there. It is getting there, folks. We are on that verge of regularly competing for points, not just occasionally. But this is a design that's going to take close to 3 months to compete. We are going to speed that up a little bit by contributing a couple more members of the team to it, engineer-wise. And we might strip one from one of the other projects to put 4 here and make it that little bit faster. Yeah, that brings it down by a couple of weeks. So one more can make a pretty big difference on how long it's going to take to do this. So I think we will take somebody off of one of the other projects, but at the cost of $1 million. Again, this focus on the underfloor above all else is coming with great benefit, absolute great benefit. It's what's bringing us up the grid so quickly. We are going to have to start focusing in on other areas, and I think this will be our last underfloor design for the year, and then we'll start committing to research for next year on the underfloor with the remainder of the season. This will be the first area where we shut down updates for this year, just because it's already gotten so good, and we're going to need to start dealing with next season to keep it at the top. Catalunya, of course, is the perfect practice site for preseason testing, as it offers everything: low speed, medium speed, high speed corners, long straights, short straights. You get all of it. So this is where the perfectly balanced team is going to do the best. We're not that right now. We are definitely not the perfectly balanced team. 3 low speed sections is going to be difficult for us, but medium and high speed sectors are fine. Not any really long straights is definitely good for us, as our acceleration is better than our overall top speed. But I think we could be back into that, outside of the points looking in. Until you take a look at the race forecast over to the right hand side: dry on Friday and sunny and warm, wet on Saturday, heavy downpour expected for the race itself on Sunday. That is what keeps putting us in the scenario of our best performances. We had one experimental race last season where we did poorly, tried things, didn't work, learned the lessons. Ever since then, we have done really, really well when it comes to wet weather situations. And until Doohan's in the car over Albon and is not suited to wet weather, as long as Albon is still in the car, you expect that the combination of Pourchaire and Albon will continue to do well in wet races. Therefore, that could put us up into the points, but we'll see, how things go.
Formula One has cranked up the heat over Barcelona. The first Grand Prix held here was won by Nigel Mansell after a wheel-to-wheel battle with Ayrton Senna. But who will follow in his footsteps this weekend? Long straights and medium-speed turns dominate here, but there's something else to watch out for at Barcelona. The air currents are strong and unpredictable, and they'll be giving aerodynamic components a real run for their money this weekend. We might still be early in the season, but that doesn't mean we can sit back and relax. Everything is up for grabs, and nothing is certain at this stage. Let the weekend begin! Now we see the Williams here.
FP1 running side by side and heading into the turn, and the AlphaTauri has nailed us.
Absolute carnage.
We'll see what kind of damage is involved in this one, but not
the
looking
team are
good.
really disappointed with that. Let's hope it doesn't set them back too badly.
Now, which one is it?
Yeah, the wings damage.
It's Pourchaire.
That's a VSC.
Copy.
Okay, there's a big crash.
So Pourchaire shunted by Guan Yu Zhou, and Zhou out of practice. Pourchaire, hopefully just wing damage. Luckily, he is not riding with the new suspension. Doohan is the only one on the suspension, the brand new suspension, and neither car on the new underfloor, as we were saving that for next week. Thought about running it maybe in a practice session just to acclimatize to it a little bit, though. We may do that with like FP2 for Pourchaire. Okay, just minor damage on that front wing. You know what? We're going to send him right back out and let him run with it. We'll change it. Well, it takes a while. It takes about a minute. So unless we make major car setup changes, we will leave it on for now. Following FP3, Albon, we got his setup down so early that he went out for a very, very long run in FP3, and his track acclimatization just flew up to the point where he actually, in the final minute, overtook Pourchaire. Pourchaire 3 sessions in the car, Albon just 2, and they got essentially the same track acclimatization. Car parts knowledge, the suspension, we're up to 91% overall with the car with just suspension. The underfloor, we got up to 88% on, so next race weekend, that's where we'll start from. So hopefully we'll have the car in pretty good shape as you start about 80% or so. So we'll almost get there. by the beginning of the race next time out, but that underfloor, we'll put that back on the shelf and save that for next weekend from here. So Pourchaire will have no suspension. He'll have the old car that we raced with a week ago. Setup confidence, Albin, 97%. Pourchaire, not sure, but we only had one thing that was off, and we knew what direction we needed to go with it. We made that change, and we got most of the way through finding the knowledge on that final setup. We nearly got it all the way there, but we'll see if we got it totally right. How far we got that, we won't know till the end of qualifying, though. One area that was a little off was traction. It was good. Now it's optimal. We were great, and I think we had a couple optimals. So we're looking very potentially that we will have nailed it. I mean, we're coming up from 93%, and the one thing that was well off was traction. We were here, all the way over here. I mean, that alone is worth about 5 to 6%. Banker lap. Clear track. We were good on that part, but Albin with a lockup has self-sabotaged the lap. Pourchaire is going to get a clean one in, though, so Albin will have to send him back out the lockup and the run wide subsequent. So, yeah, Albin's going to have to run again. We'll go out on the same compound, though, and look to better the time at least. Clean track for Albin here on this second run. In fact, it's Verstappen behind us that we may hold up just a little bit at the end of his lap. I don't think so. Maybe just, a tiny bit. And he goes slightly, about a tenth ahead of Pourchaire. Right now, P8 and P9, but dropping. There's still 6 cars waiting to get their laps in, but it's definitely not at the bottom. I mean, we have at least 5 cars behind us. Schumacher hasn't put a time in. We'll be ahead of him. So, not bad with 7 minutes to go. Looks like we might just get out of Q1. So P12 and P13 is where we stand right now with the last few cars getting ready to go out. So we'll send out Pourchaire and Albin. And those last 2 cars just ahead of us, so I think we should be in a good position here. Should get our lap in time. We're a little further off than I thought we were in terms of the timing. From time you say, let's go out, to them actually getting out there, there's always that few more seconds. Getting the timing just right on that is tricky. I think we're going to be okay. Let's see if that's the case. 18 seconds to go as we enter the final chicane. I think we're going to be good. It's going to be close, though. That's Pourchaire. 5 seconds to spare. Albin, 3, 2, 1. Has he started his lap? Yes. Just in time. About a second to spare. So these two getting that final run in just in time. And let's see where they go as we run through the lap. We'll ride on board with Albin as he is heading through turn 3. Hamilton up to P4. Perez up. Those two first ones to finish up their laps. Ocon betters his time, so we are going to have to move ahead of him. He was one of the guys behind us. He was one of the early ones to go, though. A lot of the front runners going first otherwise. Here come the McLarens across the line. Norris still behind Albin, but ahead of Pourchaire. Actually identical on time, but somehow Norris completing the time second. Still goes ahead of him. Ricardo is behind us, though. So Ricardo, Stroll, that's 2 behind us for sure. 3 if you count Norris with Albin. 4 behind us. 5 behind us. Now Pourchaire just needs to better Norris. Albin has already done enough. He will get out of Q1. Pourchaire is who we need. Pourchaire is green in both sectors as he comes around the final turn. Will he better his time? He's better in 2. All he needs is the tiniest margin, and he gets it. That is P13 and P15 here in Q1, and that will be our second straight Q2 appearance. We are expecting rain for this race, and today we have not had any as of yet. Will it come in the later stages of qualifying? The game has opted to select the intermediates as we go to start Q2 with 0.95 millimeters right in between the dry and the intermediates. 1.0 is supposed to be that cutoff. Now, if the track starts drying at all and then rain picks up again later, we may be the only ones who get a lap in. I've switched to the softs. I'm going to try to get us out there. If it doesn't work, yeah, so be it. We're going to be at the back end of Q2 anyway, so we have everything to gain and nothing really to lose. I mean, technically one position down is all that could happen, but if the track dries even slightly, we could be faster and get into Q3. If the track just gets more wet, we'll know within a few seconds, and we can switch to the intermediates and make our run. 97% for Porsche, so we got both cars to optimal settings, by the way. Track is quickly getting more wet, so we are going to switch to the intermediates and get out there right away, hoping for the driest track possible.
Light rain in the pit lane.
Porsche first. And
yes.
now Albin, that few seconds later. And let's go get that banker lap. Wow, the track is getting worse and worse and worse by the second, already up to a 1.8. We'll wait right for the end and hope
Did somebody spit
that it
out
has
there?
dried enough. Right now we are P14, P15. Everything to gain, nothing to lose, 3.5 minutes. Right now you would suspect everybody would go back out on intermediates. This is where we could potentially make that gain. Track nearly dry enough and no longer raining. And cars heading out. Are they on dry compounds? It's hard to see, but I think it's green. And there you go, track now drying. Track now drying. Okay, we've got to get out there at the right time. Some cars not going back out. They are not going to get a run in, and it is dry enough for these tires. Let's see, what do we have? We're the only ones on the soft. Can we go top here in Q2? Bold strategy. We'll see how it plays out. I would think that, like, Verstappen may still be faster than us, but as the track dries, it's in between. And as we begin our final flying lap, the track is getting drier and drier and drier, now under 0.5 millimeter, and we're the only ones out there on the softs. This could be lightning fast compared to others, though purple for Porsche until Albin goes purple. Yes, we are purple in Sector 1. We are a 1-2 in Sector 1. And look, Albin has caught up to the Red Bull and is passing him on track. That's how much faster we are. But what I was worried about was the Red Bull. But no, we don't need to worry about them. Albin somehow still is purple, even in Sector 2. Is Porsche caught behind somebody? I don't know. Did he have to pass someone? I think he might have, but we should be well ahead of the pace. Porsche, P1, and Albin looking to even better his teammate. So we are flying up on everybody, and there it is. A tenth of a second ahead. P1 and P2, we will make to qualifying session number 3 because the track was drying. We caught it. We guessed right. We went for it. Bold strategy. Didn't know if it was going to stay like that or not, but it did. And for the first time, we lead a session. Guan Yu Zhou, the only one with penalties at this point in the season. It's way too early for that, but wow. Into Q3. That'll get us a top 10 grid starting spot. Now, depending on what happens here, we'll easily end up P9, P10, but that's still a really good starting spot. Q3, we're going to go for that banker lap. We got a bunch of guys out. Hopefully nobody else comes out in the next little bit. They don't. We've got a clear track on that lap now. Porsche, Albin, both put in decent times. But unfortunately, the rest of the field is getting their lap times in as well. You can see how far off the pace we are compared to everybody else. These are the 8 dominant cars, so there was no mistakes except for us making it into Q3. So that lap, that's a one and done for us. We will not go out for another. Albin will start from P9, Porsche P10, and the race for pole is on with the Red Bulls going out early. Verstappen, in fact, leading the way. Can they hold off as the checkered flag waves? Perez only to a second row starting spot following his lap. Alonso is going to be P7, it looks like. Leclerc is heading around the final turn now. Where did he wind up at? Alonso and Bottas, P7, P8. Russell goes P5. Leclerc, for now, on provisional pole. Hamilton goes P5 ahead of his teammate. Sainz comes across. He will remain P4. Verstappen, last... Verstappen already finished his lap. He finished before time ran out. He is on an in-lap now, so that will do it. Leclerc will be on pole. You can clearly see Verstappen's pace. He has slowed. He is not going for a second flying lap. That was it. Leclerc on pole. Verstappen, Perez, Sainz. So there's your one out of position, really, is Ferrari with a Red Bull sandwich.
Welcome to race day. And before we get down to it, last-minute checks are being made.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. We saw a good effort from Alfa Romeo during qualifying. They'll be looking to improve further on their decent grid position. A sunny day here with only a few clouds in the sky. If things stay this way, the weather shouldn't pose any challenges to the teams.
And there are going to be some tough calls to make in Catalunya today. So let's see who makes the best ones for the Spanish Grand Prix.
For the expected race strategy, it's looking like this. Track should start dry, should remain dry for roughly half the race. The medium compound can make it the distance that we need it to. So we're going to go out on the mediums, not the conservative hards. That should give us a little extra pace. We're also going to underfuel only by one lap though, because we are going to be, roughly half the race on mediums. And then we have a light period of intermediates. Now there is the slight worry that, it's 50% chance of rain. I don't expect a lot through there, but we're going to go onto those intermediates and push really, really hard as soon as the track is wet enough for that, because as you can see, it's going to rain very hard about 10, 11 laps later, depending on when that rain does come. So the mediums, we will hold out as necessary. We will take it easy. We are not going to push other than off the line within the end of first lap. We're going to just settle into whatever our position is and drive from there. The lighter fuel load should give us a little extra pace, so we don't have to push those tires. Being on the mediums compared to those who are on the hards should give us the extra pace. We're not going to get it by driving aggressive. But then it's that intermediate stint when we're going to drive like mad and try to improve our position out on track, and then at the right time transfer to those wets where we'll likely take it easy and finish the race out, and then towards the end of the race, if we do have some extra tire life, we can give it a little push from there, or as need be, to try to attempt overtakes.
The drivers there lined up on the grid under mostly sunny skies. Here we have Alexander Albon. A top 10 position today, but will they be able to capitalize on it? And looking at the second Williams car, they might not be in the top 3 spots, but things could change fast once the race gets underway. And we're just moments away now. One of the oldest races on the Formula One calendar. This is the Spanish Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
And we are racing. Like I said, we're going to try to settle in here really quick. Albon off to a decent start, holding P9 for now. Porsche temporarily down to P11, but he's back up into P10. We'll ride with him as he enters the first corner. He has reclaimed that position, and he is side by side with Albon for now, holding that P9, P10. Let them sort this one out themselves, and then we will eventually settle in. And it looks like Porsche has the advantage as he goes through turn 3 to the inside. You got some side-by-side action up ahead of us, but we have every reason to be confident about where we're at. Let's drop both guys to neutral first. Albon, who is behind, is going to get that drop back second. Or, sorry, drop back first.
Lift and coast level 3.
To ease off. Like I said, we're going to let the tires do their thing, as we've got to hold out for a while. Now, there is that small chance that there is rain in the early stages of this race. We don't expect much of it, but that could put a wrench in our plans. So other than swapping positions, that first lap, see both of our cars still in the top 10. Porsche ahead of Albon for the time being, and the field very tight, very compact, with Schumacher getting past and going backwards, Guan Yu Zhou, who had that penalty to start the race, having to start from the back, already trying to make his way past. But otherwise, the grid very much kind of locked in on its place right now. Porsche, without DRS, struggling a little bit and may need to drive aggressively to get that
So heads down,
DRS.
focus.
As we hit that first DRS zone down the backstretch. So we're going to go a little more aggressively with Porsche for another half a lap just to make sure
Reduce
we
the lift and co.
remain in DRS range. Flap not open. Towards that midpoint, he was always within a second. Always was within a second. Somehow closes the gap anyway to 0.812, but push on a little bit longer until we get to the front stretch to make sure. Albon, though, already easily in tow. His position's good. 0.749. We should definitely have it this time. Should have had it last time. There's the detection zone. And there is the DRS line. Still no flap open. Less than 3/4 of a second behind. Five of 66. We've got about 30 laps to go until we expect the rain. The early chance of rain, the first opportunity, has passed with nothing doing. Porsche has lost the wheel of the Alfa Romeos, by the way, so he is now without DRS. And Magnussen went by, so Magnussen leading his way forward, and that's P10, P11 for us. Magnussen with an issue, falls back, and we move ahead of him, back up into P9, P10, and exchange places. Magnussen, that was a spin, so we keep swapping places amongst each other. 12 laps in. Leclerc leads from Verstappen, Sainz, Perez. Sainz passing Perez, but otherwise same order. Russell passing Hamilton, but otherwise same positioning. And we keep swapping between 9th and 10th, as long as they don't crash into each other. It's good for their experience gain. Every pass, every defense gains experience. Hamilton, Magnussen, Vettel, all into the pits. That's the other three on the softs. It's going to put them well behind. That's P7 and P8 for us now. Perez and Verstappen are pitting already. So those on the mediums are pitting before the rain comes as well. And just the remaining pair are all that's ahead of us. We are P5 and P6 cruising around the track and have already just about made up that lap worth of fuel that we needed to make up. Leclerc into the pits. Bottas remains out for one more lap. We could find ourselves running P1, P2 in about a lap, as Albon has made his way past Porsche, but they are still racing side by side. Leclerc could be having that race. No, Leclerc was fast enough that he is still ahead of us. So Bottas, then Leclerc. We could find ourselves in 2 podium places right now. We have ourselves in 1, as again, the DRS enough to make the switch.
Further rain expected.
Yes.
Okay, that rain prediction is coming soon. We're on lap 26. Again, we are swapping places, and Perez has caught up to us. Leclerc, meanwhile, is pulling away as we are holding up the train that is Perez and Sainz. Perez gets by finally, and Sainz is starting to make his way by, and the rain is starting to fall.
Yes.
Lap 29. Lap 29. We're going to keep a close eye on this. We have roughly half a lap to go here, and at the rate it's coming down, it looks like we are going to want to double stack here.
Keep pushing. Keep pushing.
We're going to want to double stack here. So Albon, Porsche,
Ferrari,
aggressive.
advance the race position.
And yes, it's already almost to that 1.0. going to be aggressive on those intermediates. Somehow we held up. Signs into the pits as well. We've got the double stack. Everybody opting to pit. Leclerc and Perez stayed out. They're going to lose time. We're going to be closing back up on them, and we find ourselves in a battle with the big-time racers. Russell is going to lose a ton of time here. There's that double stack, and there's definitely a wait for Albin, but at least Porsche gets out quickly. And so does Albin. Albin does not lose much. Albin does not lose much. That's good. No mistakes as we drive hard for the next handful of laps until we switch to the full wets. We have 4 cars ahead of us, still on the medium compound. Probably going to pass all or most of them as they are losing a lot of time right now.
Tires up really coming down.
Okay.
That's okay that they're overheating. Maybe aggressive. Maybe aggressive is the way
That's
to
good.
go.
That's good.
Less likely to make mistakes. Helps with the temperature a little bit. And won't wear out quite as fast, and we're less prone to
And a
mistakes.
new position, just gained by
Albin
Williams.
overtakes Bottas. Bottas on the mediums, going backwards very, very fast. We are currently P1 and P5 on the intermediates. Let's get with Porsche. Leclerc into the pits. And we have caught Russell. Set that overtake, though we will overtake him momentarily.
Needed.
It's allowing the others to catch up to us as we caught up to the back of Russell, but away he goes, and off we are. Fortunately, with 3 very, very fast cars behind us, and likely to overtake us soon enough, but that's okay. The race isn't necessarily with them. Porsche is into the race lead. That's how well we have timed things here. That is how well we have timed things. P1 and P6. Now, I do not for a second think that we are going to hold these guys off. Yellow flag,
We've just
sector
had a
1.
spin.
Ocon with a spin. The rest of the cars are all heading into the pits, and so many of them are way, way, way behind us. We are for now. Right? Porsche isn't even going to complete a lap in the race lead as he has already
Let's
spun.
take a closer look. Now we see the Williams here. And there it is.
Driving
That's
aggressively
where they spin out.
has not panned out for him. Let's go neutral.
And that was a bitter blow for the...
Let's go neutral as he's going to be very prone to mistakes. Porsche now down to P7. Albin is up to P5, and he's going to become the focal point. And maybe we need to do the same thing. Just avoid the mistakes. Right now, we are in an ideal position, and when the time comes, we are going to benefit from switching to the wets if we do it at the right time. Once again, we're still in a great position even after Porsche's mistake, but that's the problem with these guys, even just being aggressive and not attack. Okay, heavy rain is starting to fall. It's already coming up on 3 millimeters. It's 4 is the transition to wets. We're far enough apart to double stack. Is it too late to get in on this pit window? No,
Okay,
we are
box,
going to
box.
enter. Okay, both cars are entering pit road. And yes, it is getting much better than expected at this point. So it was the right call to pit now. Leclerc and Sainz carry on. They're again going to be losing time. One Mercedes out in front of us. You can see Porsche entering pit road back there as Albin comes into our pit box now. Going to switch to full wets. And now on to Porsche. Albin already back out on track. Is he in front of or behind the car? We'll find out in a moment. Albin, stop time was 2.8. That wasn't great. 2.6 for Porsche is definitely better. He gets back going very quickly. And are we behind or ahead of? So that's P6 now for Albin, and 3 cars ahead. Still have yet to pit, and we are gaining time on them right now. Porsche is currently P9 and catching Russell as we speak. That's a lapped car. That is a lapped car. We are about to lap a car. It's lap 41 though, by the way. And there's a ton of water on track. It's drying out slightly, but we're going to be full wets till the end. So Albon, currently P3 though. Leclerc is just behind us. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. That is a Red Bull. That's probably Verstappen. It is. Hamilton goes into the race lead. Verstappen drops to P2, but we're not going to catch up to him. You know Leclerc's going to get past us at some point. But I would think P4 is a real possibility. Pourchaire's up to P7. If these guys don't make mistakes, we've got a great chance. Perez closing in on Pourchaire, so maybe a P8 there. But otherwise, he can hold guys off. And Albon, how long could he hold guys behind him? Track has dried a bit, but more heavy rain is expected. This could be good. This could be good. More heavy rain is coming soon. Stroll and Ricciardo have pit. Will any front runners pit? They're switching to the intermediates. But, ooh, not heavy rain. It's more light rain. It's more light rain. Are you going to wait for literally the entire grid to drive by, or did you stall out?
Now we see the Williams here.
Yes, we see him just sitting there. Come on, Pourchaire. P10, and he's finally moving again. No idea why he waited so long, unless he literally had a problem. Somebody else has spun in the meantime. No, that's pit stops. So, Pourchaire down to P10. I do not want to drive aggressively. I do not want to risk having what happened to Pourchaire. Right? That's a much bigger drop than letting one faster car get by. But it was under pressure that Pourchaire made that mistake, trying to defend. Vettel pitting. Vettel is opting to pit. That's going to drop him out of the points, you think? There's Pourchaire's location. Gasly is caught up to him. There is the final chicane. We're going to come around, one turn to go, and Vettel in the pits. Vettel is in the pits.
Vettel has just pitted.
Clearly going for the intermediates here in the last few laps, but it's too late for that. Much too late for that. And that is back to P10. And we now have that fuel we needed. Oh gosh, he's been on overtake still? Yikes. Back to neutral. Okay, let's go aggressive to try to hold off. Vettel comes out in between. No. That is... Okay, that's not for position. That is not for position behind us, as Vettel is the next car on track back here. Coming on the intermediates. He's going to be fast for these last two laps though. Does not have the ERS, but he's got a gap to Vettel. What is the pace? Pace difference is going to be what's questionable on that one, whether we can hang on to the points. Defend for a moment, but I think we're okay here. We are. So far, so good. Leclerc starts the last lap, and we are approaching the last lap ourselves. Got to back off a little bit here. For the sake of the fuel, defend is on. We'll leave it on for the final lap. Track continues to dry out more and more. Let's check in with Pourchaire. There's Pourchaire finally.
You're starting the final lap.
Okay. Back straight still, and Vettel has already caught us. Vettel has already caught us. He's going to have an easy time getting by. Okay, go ahead and use defend. And we can't go aggressive because we don't have enough fuel for it. And we're definitely not going to get lapped here by Leclerc. Leclerc is about a straightaway behind. So we have one more lap to go around. It would be nice if we were lapped so that we would be coming up on the end of the race. Okay, we have enough fuel now. Let's push.
So heads down, focus.
But the ERS is essentially gone. Okay, check back with Albin. Albin trying to hang on to P5. And it looks like we will. It looks like Albin should hang on to P5 here. Just a handful of corners to go. Leclerc takes the checkered flag, P1. Hamilton, another P2 for Mercedes. Verstappen just behind him in P3. Sainz coming across for P4. Here in just a moment, one turn left to go for him. And Albin enters that final chicane, holding off Alonso.
Head down, keep the head down. Don't know what we have left.
On the corner, attack. And that is
Yep, copy.
P5, but Porsche has just been passed.
That's the flag.
Just been passed by Vettel.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, copy. Nice job. Nice
Attack.
job.
Deploy.
Copy.
That's the last straight right here.
Good push.
It's the last straight right here. Gasly has also caught up. No. Gasly is not caught up. I don't think that's the right Alpine. I think that's Ocon that's behind us. Ocon still behind us. Just Vettel coming through. Vettel going to switch to the intermediates. He still lost position, so it didn't really work out for him, but he did at least recover
So what DRS?
a points position. And Porsche, with these two mistakes, does end up missing out. Both Magnussen and Vettel getting past us towards the end of that
There
race.
will be checkered flag.
But that's
Checkered
still
flag.
a decent showing in P11. Gasly 12. Bottas all the way down to P13. Disappointing for him. The McLarens. The Haas's finished. I mean, Albin. What a job. What a job from him. Fantastic result. Scoring 10 points. Albin remains in P8 in the standings, but just 3 points behind George Russell. That's how close we are right now. And we are now 11 clear of Bottas in the Alfa Romeo. Right? We should not be in the top 8. 9th would be best of the rest. 9th would be best of the rest, yet here we are. Beating the Alpines pretty handily. Even Porsche has a point more than Ocon at this stage. They've got a better car. They've definitely got a better car. We are encroaching like 6th best right now, I think, as a car. But we're not really there. I mean, in some ways, we're still 9th. It's clear that we are moving up, right? We are moving up. We are now better. You've got to say, we're better than the AlphaTauris. We're better than the Haas car. And we are consistently performing ahead of the McLarens. But I think we're only kind of level with them right now. So it's really surprising that we continually are doing what we're doing as we remain in P5. And I'm starting to think there's a real chance that we can hang on to this P5. Alpine's going to be tough to beat, but again, no points today. And we further that distance, further that gap. I think right now, Haas in particular, no problem. We're going to beat them. McLaren seems likely too. Our car's getting better and better. We are gaining ground pretty quickly on these guys. So now you're starting to go, okay, maybe Alpine is our head-to-head competitor. Alfa Romeo, though, they have easily made their way up. Their performances have been a little disappointing compared to what they could and should have done. They should be racing with Mercedes, but we've seen that the Mercedes seems to be a little bit faster since it was at the beginning of the season. They maybe came out with the upgrades first. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.